What's up everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be going over quick tips to instantly improve in Apex Legends. Recent changes to the game have resulted in one of the largest meta shifts we have ever seen, with supports being buffed, and even ranked Apex has seen some small adjustments as to the best way to get optimal RP gains. We also have a lot more to cover, so let's get started. We begin with a quick quiz or question. Can you forego carrying medkits or syringes for the general player base? The answer is actually medkits, unless you are a support legend. Syringes are double heals on support legends, so of course you can't get by with just these. Any team playing with a lifeline though can forego carrying syringes if they aren't support legends. Medkits are going to be enough, and lifeline's tactical ability can take care of all of those smaller heals. Pivoting to that previously mentioned lifeline, let's talk about her kit so you can better understand how to both play and counter her now. A critical passive ability tip is to understand that your momentum highly changes the overall distance and speed that you can travel with their passive drone. The more momentum you have going into that activation, the farther you are going to go, which means chaining movement is fairly important. You can drone float from height to height to increase your play options. Being creative is absolutely key, so you can really surprise enemies with our favorite new support movement legend. A quick bonus tip for you: did you know that charging a sentinel reloads the weapon now? Fire some shots and then charge it up to lessen your downtime. A simple tip, but a fairly less than obvious one, is that all support legends now can go into teammates' death boxes and get a mobile respawn. This is going to be key as it can massively speed up your time to reset, so do not forget to pick this up. What's the bigger issue in ranked Apex? Not getting enough eliminations or not playing with enough emphasis on your team's safety? Well, it can be a mixed answer, but for the most part, it comes down to not emphasizing enough of your overall safety. There's a few tips for this, but all legends, not just supports, can now craft teammates banners, and when you do craft banners, you're going to get a mobile respawn now, which is definitely awesome. Now more than ever though, don't be afraid to disengage off of a fight. Conserve those big losses in ranked is the best way to steadily climb the ranks. But that being said, don't play afraid. You don't want to just run away at the first sign of trouble, but also understand your current situation. Big tip for the weapon meta is that the Mastiff is a near must. It was very good last season, but the changes in the guns this season, in fighting in and around lifeline ultimates, Newcastle mobile shields, and even the increased usage of Gibraltar makes the Mastiff a pretty much requirement for you to jiggle peek through these barriers these days. Do not forego this shotgun. As for primary weapons, you definitely are going to want to be using the Nemesis, Hemlock, G7, and Triple Take. These are all great options to farm lots of damage, apply pressure, but just overall slay out the lobby. And the most MVP Kimbos I do see are not being really used right now, but they're definitely still not bad. And if you do want an SMG in the game, the Volt SMG right now is going to be the best from the ground spray weapons that you will want to use. But as a whole, SMGs are just kind of outclassed right now. Another question for you: which category of legends is the best right now at countering supports? Is it assaults or skirmisher? And the answer is actually assault legends. Lots of people are just saying how OP support legends are, but if you don't want to play as a support and you want to keep the pressure up, the majority, if not all, assault legends are actually really incredible right now, and they should be used. First up is Ashe. Her snare is going to help trip up all those legends fighting in and around their defensive abilities, and I find a lot of people just are not ready to play in Ashe. She isn't really picked that often, so when they do come in encounter with one, this can confuse them. Second is going to be Mad Maggie. We did see a little nerf to her ultimate by not breaking as many barriers now, but however, her tactical drill is absolutely critical. It's going to force pressure through all those defensive abilities, and it's going to cause your enemies to scatter. It's a great counter to the support meta. All right, now we have the best new gun in Apex Legends, the charge rifle. Well, not really, but now the charge rifle does break doors. If you did miss it, you can kind of troll enemies that are camped in buildings by shooting the door and it will break. And a sleeper tip for this that I really want to mention is that the charge rifle breaks catalyst reinforced doors in just 2 shots rather than 4 kicks. A quick tip for you is that solo queue is pretty brutal. If you haven't tried it, I don't suggest you do. Hop in my community Discord to find others to play with, as solo queue is pretty unplayable in the game's current state. What's more important, your input sensitivity or your gun and game knowledge? The answer is absolutely your overall gun and game knowledge. However, to start, I will say that for roller players out there, it's pretty understood at this point that linear 4-3 or 4-4 is OP. Classic 5-4 or 4-4 isn't going to be too bad either, but linear is what the majority of professional Apex players use, and it is for a good reason. Your close range tracking is just incredible. How you aim though is almost more important than your sense though. You need to have the right positioning, understand recoil smoothing, learning the basic recoils of each weapon. Strafing helps a ton at the longer ranges due to recoil smoothing, plus it evades damage once you do get a good strafe speed and pattern down. Mixtape is OP to get better if you are looking to improve your shot. I still can't believe just how much I do need to say this. People are not using mixtape enough. If you're looking to get your optimal RP gains in ranked, my biggest advice I can give for this is to take a fight early on in a match. Mid-game is still third-party central, and you really want to avoid mid-game fights if you can. Early fights assure that you get some some KP and negate the big losses. Plus, they are generally more healthy fights as you have control of who you want to fight. You will not be getting third-partied quite as much as teams are more spread out. After the early game fights though, focus on rotating and getting the best end game ring positioning as you can. Unless you are in Diamond, you really don't need much more than one squad fight a game. In a perfect world, you're going to get one squad fight off the drop and the 1 or 2 fights at the end game, winning the match and securing great gains with minimal risk. A really OP tip if you have been playing Newcastles, and there's a lot of Newcastles out there right now, is that you can move Newcastle's tactical mobile shield if an enemy is fighting you on it. This is going to confuse them greatly, and it can often just lead you to get really big hits without them expecting. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what content you want to see. Apex has been a little tougher lately for me to cover, but I would love to hear your thoughts down below. And as always, happy gaming, legends.